3, 2.
I got everybody pregnant with Barry Katz and semen.
I'm not comfortable with the tone this is taking.
If you're undeniable, you will not be denied.
If you want to be successful in show business, you get yourself a Jew white manager like Barry Katz.
Being a manager is just turning no's into yeses.
Creating holy shit moments. Undeniable.
You're fucking firing me up, Katz.
I love this man.
Is there anything else I should know?
You're on. What? Now I'm on the air.
Barry Katz, back in the house.
Let's do this.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Industry Standard with me, Barry Katz. Another version of Questions Answered. Taking some questions from around the globe as best I can and answer them the way instinctually I think is best to do so. I love this segment because it gives me an opportunity to sit without a guest, and I love guests and I love interviewing people, but I think equally important is being able to do my best to answer the questions that you have and tell you through my experiences what I think is the best way to handle things and give you a chance to Airbnb my mind for nothing. If you want to reach me, you can do so at Barry Katz at Instagram or Twitter, or as they say, X, or you can reach me on my website at barrykatz.com, or you can subscribe to this podcast on our YouTube channel. All the episodes are there, and new, old, a lot of different things, and I think you'll learn a lot from it. So without further ado, let's start answering some questions. If you could start over, where would you start and what would you have done differently? That's Jennifer from Washington, D.C. You know, when I think of this, the first thing I think to myself is an inaccurate statement, but it's the natural thing that anyone would probably say, is they'd probably go back and change all the mistakes they made into different decisions that would have turned out in an alternative way. But that doesn't work when it comes to getting where you want to go. You have to take some wrong turns. You have to take some falls. You have to have failures. And anyone who's lived a life where the journey is long and winding knows this. Look, I was in New York for my birthday. I planned to see Book of Mormon. I'd never seen Book of Mormon. I go down to the concierge at the hotel. Very nice person, wonderful, the most accommodating, incredible person. She says, I've got 2 tickets for you, Mr. Katz. You're all set. Just come back here after you have some dinner and give us your credit card and you're all set. I come back after dinner. I give her my credit card. She says, I'm sorry, Mr. Katz, those tickets are no longer available. They sold them. They sold them? I thought you were holding them. You sent me an email saying that you were holding them and to bring my credit card. Yeah, I know, but they sold them. Okay, no problem. Just I'll take the next best pair of seats. Hang on, Mr. Katz. Gets on the phone, comes back off. I'm sorry, there's no seats available. Says there's no seats available. I don't know how to tell you this, but I've been to 8 Super Bowls. Okay, I bought tickets for Super Bowls an hour beforehand. You're trying to tell me Book of Mormon I can't find a ticket broker site to get 2 tickets? You can't help me with that? Mr. Katz, we've checked every ticket broker site. There are no tickets available. So I was, really looking forward to this play, this musical on Broadway. And now I wasn't going to be able to see it. And the person I was with said, do you mind if I take control over this situation and book you in something that you haven't seen before? I said, why not? What do I got to lose? And they got tickets to a show called Sleep No More. And for those of you who don't know what this is a company that creates immersive shows that are theatrical and powerful and have themes of other different things from the past. In this particular case, they took God knows how many warehouses, they gutted them, they made film and television sets where things played out in front of you, and you followed characters from room to room for 2 or 3 hours until it finished in a culmination in the main room. And it was incredible. It was kind of like a modern day version of Macbeth, that you're not really seeing all the pieces because you're following certain characters some places, and then other people are following those characters other places. You're wearing a mask. You don't know who you went with. You don't know how to find them. And it was an incredible experience. And I never would have gotten to experience that had the other thing not happened. And I think we all know that, as our parents always said, when a door closes, a window opens. And so I always look at it that way. And so I don't want to start over a different way, even if I could, because I need to make those mistakes to become who I am. I have no regrets. I know my place, and I created me just like you created you. And just like you write, direct, produce, and star in your own life, and I don't, I star, write, produce, and direct my own life. And there's going to be times when I don't do it as properly as I could. Some people might have an opinion of how it could be done differently, but I'm really proud of what's happened in my life and my career, and things continue to happen that blow me away, and I'm so humbled and grateful that I have the opportunity to do so. So even though I don't think I answered your question the way you wanted me to, obviously, if I didn't care about being a better person or evolving or having a journey that was filled with God-shot moments where you realize you have to solve problems, well, if I wanted everything easy, yeah, I'm sure I could change a bunch of things to make that happen. But to me, the difficult journey is what makes you who you are. And as you know, and you've heard, and that's probably been written on caves and walls from prehistoric times, what defines a great person is not how they handle everything that goes right and all the good times. What defines them is how they are and how they handle the difficult times. All right, next question. What are 5 tips that could help any comedy artist? Ida from Springfield, Massachusetts. All right, the Basketball Hall of Fame, and where I grew up was Long Meadow, right next to that, between that town and the Connecticut line. All right, let's see. 5 tips that could help any comedian. I'd say the first thing is anxiety and success don't go together. It's not going to work. You don't see LeBron James at the end of the game with 5 seconds left And the coach saying, okay, we're drawing up the play for you, LeBron. And he looks at the coach and all the players and says, I'm feeling really stressed out about this. I don't think I'm the guy to take the shot. You know, it's never going to happen. The most successful people do a biopsy of anxiety and stress out of their lives, which are the most self-defeating things, or two of the most self-defeating things you can possibly have in your life. So I would say get rid of that. I'd have to say, if you're a young comedian and you're doing sets and there's any point in time where you look in the mirror and say, you know, is this comedy thing really for me? I'm just not sure. Yeah, I would just get the out, because you have to know with every fiber of your being that you belong and you want to be a part of a certain segment of the business. I don't care what part of it is. If you're a director, writer, manager, sketch artist, you have to feel in your bones that that's what you want to do and that's what excites you, and you don't want to do anything else. And so anytime you doubt anything, it's the greatest dream killer in the world, and there's no reason to continue. I'd say, you know, be ready. Be ready for the moment when the lights are shining brightest. Train for the moment, so that when that opportunity comes, when that person is in the crowd from the Tonight Show that you weren't expecting to be there and you find out 1 minute before you go on, or there's a headliner in the crowd that's about to go on and sees you and, you know, you want to open up for them, or there's some kind of showrunner who's looking for unique voices to put in his writer room. You know, it's really, really important to always be ready. And to me, that's what it's all about. Don't get ready. Be ready. You know, don't get comfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable, so that every situation you go into, you're going to take it and just grasp it and just do the best possible work you can do. When you do that, people are always going to chase you like your ass is on fire. I'd say number 4 is something I've said a lot in my lifetime. Use every cylinder in your engine. Don't just use one part of your talent. Use everything you got and push all the rocks up the hill. If it's an 8-cylinder engine, push all 8 rocks up the hill. Some are going to fall down, but hedge your bets and put forth as much work as you can from your gifts and all of your talents. I think that's really, really important. I'd say lastly, a lot of comedians, they don't go after all the opportunities. You know, you'll ask them, hey, do you work that club? No. Have you reached out to this club? No. But I work this club and I work this club. And I don't understand that. You know, it's like, make a list of every comedy club in the area and keep fighting to go on at all of them. And the same with film and television opportunities or commercial opportunities or anything it is. And if you get shut down everywhere in comedy clubs, then start your own night somewhere. Or in writing or in any kind of other job, then just create your own opportunities. Don't wait for other people to tap you in if they're not doing it. Make the opportunities yourself. And I think that's really, really important because, look, I remember recently, I think I watched 10th anniversary show of Kill Tony. I think it was the 10th anniversary show. Kind of ties into an earlier question, but this one as well. I remember Tony Hinchcliffe saying that the greatest decision that ever happened in his life was that Comedy Central passed on Kill Tony. And that led him to create his own situation on the YouTube channel. And he built it into a juggernaut. And it's one of the funniest programs out there. It combines many components of some of the greatest shows and projects on television and puts them all together in something really, really special. And he's a true original. So if you get shut out and you can't create the opportunities, find your own opportunities, and I guarantee you, you'll be an unstoppable force. And people will follow you, they'll watch you, they'll chase you, they'll rally around you because they see you as a leader of men and women, not as a follower. Next question, how can I find a manager when emailing doesn't seem to work? Eric from Portland, Maine. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Don't worry about finding a manager or an agent. Who cares? Just worry about being fucking funny, original, unique, somebody who people talk about. That's the way it works. I mean, everyone in the audience should say that you're the funniest. I think that if you're the funniest all the time, managers and agents are going to find out about it. People are going to be talking and they're going to be reaching out to you. They're going to want to take meetings because you'll perfect your act to where you're at a higher level than anybody else. And if you're at a higher level than anybody else, then obviously people want to work with you because they perceive that you're going to make money for them faster than the people who don't blow people away all the time. So just focus on being extraordinary and being the best representation of yourself and to be the funniest person in the room every time. And everything will fall into place for you.
Hey everybody, it's Barry Katz, and I wanted to talk to you about Blueprint for Success. This is a community that I put together during the pandemic to help all artists of every walk of life in the entertainment business. No matter where you are in that part of this journey, it's designed to help you. There are podcasts with people that will inspire you, like Kevin Hart, Judd Apatow, Bill Burr, that you can't find anywhere else but on this program that I've interviewed, to times where we get to talk to executives in the business that you would never have access to tell you what you need to hear and to answer your questions, to all sorts of different videos and master classes designed to help you get to the promised land. That's what the Blueprint for Success is. Doesn't matter whether you want to be a stand-up comedian, a sketch performer, a podcaster, an actor, an actress, director, writer, social media person, whatever you want to be. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've had the honor and been humbled to represent people like Chappelle, Wanda Sykes, Louis C.K., Dane Cook, and probably over 20 other people who went from a studio apartment to being a multi-millionaire and a household name. And I want that for you, and I wanted to take the time with this program to be able to help you on your way there, to get there and to heighten and increase the trajectory of your career. Blueprint for Success is the way to go. I'm proud to be a part of this program, and I'd be proud to have you to be a part of it too.
Next question. Why should comedians beware of the fine print in contracts? Parth from India. I think it's important when you're starting out to not sign any contracts. There's no good thing that can happen in the beginning of your career if somebody wants to film you and have you sign a contract. I just don't see it happening. People take advantage of young talent and they get them excited, and a contract sometimes appears like it's something that makes them feel important and special, and I understand that, but as a young artist, there's no way you're going to be able to protect yourself unless you have a real professional attorney or somebody like myself or an agent. It just, there's no reason ever to sign anything, whether it's fine print or not fine print. I get contracts every week, and still to this day, there's people who sneak things in and try to fuck me over or fuck my artists over. And it's amazing what happens. And it's very, very frustrating. I would say if you have to sign something, spend the money to find somebody to look it over and mark it up for you and negotiate for you, or a family attorney or somebody who's going to look out for you in the beginning if you have to sign something. But otherwise, don't, or else you'll be giving away your material or some concept in perpetuity, and you'll find somebody making money off your stuff after they paid you $6 in a bucket of chicken. In 2024 and 2050, they're making millions. So that's my advice there. Next question. Where does your wellspring of positivity come from? Arpana, Toronto, Canada. That's interesting. Well, if I was on a therapist's couch right now, I would probably say when I was 4 years old, my dad passed away from Hodgkin's disease, which is a type of cancer. And I watched him suffer as a young boy, getting taken in stretchers to the hospital many times from the house. And watching my mother cry over and over again every day and every night for many, many years. And I remember her crying used to wake me up in the middle of the night. And I used to sneak around the other side of the living room where I could look into the kitchen where she'd be doing dishes, and looking out the window into the darkness and crying. And I don't know if you ever seen anybody cry from behind, but their shoulders kind of, they go up and down, and you can kind of tell that they're, hyperventilating, crying. And when I saw that happen each night, I would come out of my bedroom and go around the other side and grab her by the leg and say, everything's going to be okay. And I think at some point in time in my life, I think I sort of became the everything's going to be okay guy. My mother had a tough life. Her first husband passed away at 30. My dad passed away at 37. And she'd lost two husbands by the time she was, I think, 30 years old. So I probably figured, what do I have to complain about? This woman's gotten the shit kicked out of her, and she's still raising me with a positive attitude. And the more and more throughout your life, you see people who are dealt these difficult hands in their life, and they keep going in a positive way. Like, I used to work at a camp for disabled kids and adults as a counselor. I mean, some of the most excruciating disabilities you could ever imagine, from muscular dystrophy to cerebral palsy to spina bifida, blind, deaf. And my perspective always changes every time I run into somebody who's dealing with extraordinary adversity that I'm not dealing with. I don't want to be that negative person. I don't want to complicate winning. I don't want to be the person who has a negative thought because he knows if something doesn't happen, he's right. I want to have a positive thought, and if it doesn't happen, I'd rather be wrong. I think that's why I do this podcast, is because I just want to pay it forward. I just want to utilize what I've learned and to help a lot of people not make the same mistakes I did. I know I said earlier that, mistakes are very important for things to grow, but there's also a lot of mistakes that you don't have to make, and if I can help you overcome those, that way you maybe be more prepared for the bigger mistakes. But at the end of the day, I love being positive about this business. I love being positive about the people in it. And the possibilities are endless for success for everybody. I've seen it happen over and over again. People who had nothing becoming superstars, household names, and financially independent for generations to come. And I know it can happen to you too, if you just stay positive. Next question. Have you ever had to break it to an aspiring comedian that they just aren't funny? Ricky in Las Vegas, Nevada. Every day, every week, every month, every year, you have to talk to people about what your opinion is when they ask you. I don't give an opinion if they don't ask me, but if they ask me, I have to give it. And just because they're not funny at a certain point in time and they don't have their shit together, doesn't mean they're not going to later on. How many people do you know that have done anything for the first time and are extraordinary at it? What's somebody going to write a first-time script and it's going to be like the Titanic? How is that possible? I don't know anything I've ever done in my life for the first time that I actually did as well as I did it the 10th time, the 20th time, the 50th time, the 100th time. So even if I'm breaking it to them, I'm not breaking it to them and saying, hey, listen, pal, don't quit your day job. Go back to Whole Foods working in the produce department. I don't say that. I like to give them tips on how I think they could improve and get better and what they can work on that can make them incrementally more funny than they are. And everybody's capable of doing that by studying the craft. And it'll all come together over time. Next question. Do you see a saturation in the comedy market? Brian from Miami, Florida. Comedy is always cyclical. There's always going to be times when there's a ton of comedy shows on and then times where there's not. And that's just the way it works. There's going to be times when there's theater shows all over the country selling out and people working in NBA arenas, and times when there isn't. And you can't expect anything in life, regardless if it's entertainment or fast food places or cryptocurrency. Nothing is consistent really for so much time. I know what you're saying. AT&T is still around. Ford is still around. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's always going to be times of supply and demand when things get more or less. And that's what clears out the market when it gets too saturated and people just discard the comedy that isn't good enough or that doesn't inspire people. And I think that's really, really important. So, yes, there is a saturation of comedy, and there's more comedy and more success in comedy than I've ever seen in my entire career. But in my opinion, it can't last forever this strongly. There has to be a point where it takes a dip. But comedy will always prevail. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to laugh. Everybody wants to feel better. And everybody wants their lives to change in a positive way. And comedians are modern day philosophers. And they'll always help show you the way. All right, last question. Once you achieve a certain level of success, can you make whatever you want? Phoenix in Glendale, California. I think that these days, even if you haven't reached a level of success, you can still do whatever you want. And there's so many people out there that we look at and see that it's happened. We don't know how it's happened. You know, we just don't know. But it happens. I mean, there's so many examples of this, I can't even begin to go over everything. But it happens over and over and over again. Let's just take it. What about Jake and Logan Paul? These guys are like any people who started a YouTube channel, but they worked hard and they figured it out. And then they changed lanes. And then they went into boxing. I don't know why. But then they got in, they figured out a way to navigate and master that. They did their own thing. And so many people are doing their own thing. Of course, Bill Burr and Kevin Hart can do more than other people because they have the platform and the millions of followers. I mean, you can go to restaurants now where Kevin Hart has launched them, and you can watch Bill Burr do an animated show or do a drama. Yeah, the more you make it, the more advantage you have to do things, but it's more pressure as well because people know your name is on it and you're putting your name out there. And when you put your name out there, you take the responsibility, you take ownership. And your ownership is, if it fails or succeeds, it's on you. Even if it isn't on you, your name is attached to it, it's on it. So obviously people who are successful, they can make whatever they want. You know, Steven Spielberg, I don't think he's having a problem getting a movie made. But there's also a lot of people who nobody even knows who are doing incredibly well by creating their own YouTube channels, their own platforms, and making millions and millions of dollars. Nobody may know why one person does better than another unless they study them and they figure out every nuance of what they're doing and they study greatness, imitate greatness, and if they do that and they look at the landscape around them, that greatness is going to be exponentially bigger and better and more impactful. So you study greatness, you imitate greatness, and then you become great. All right. That wraps up this latest episode of Questions Answered on Industry Standard. I love this. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you for all the support. And I hope you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Love you to do so. All the content is there. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.